Okay, so hello. This is week commencing 21st October analysis. Just some feedback from last week. We had some amazing entries inside the internal range, especially in high resistance conditions. That Thursday being the most difficult day, and that was mainly because I realized that it was actually the day that we made the opposite end of the weekly range. See here. Sorry, not here. Wrong chart. My bad. Here. You see, we made a weekly low and a weekly high in Dixie. That's basically where um, the manipulation phase basically you can say ended. So we spent time here, you know, accumulating orders before we went up. And then obviously when New York was not that great, it's messy as you can see. Days like this, not much you can do, just follow your risk parameters, cut the risk, don't basically give it pyramids, don't be too I wanna say yeah, you can be patient, right? You gotta wait for the trade to work out. I'm fine with that. But what I mean is, if you identify it, close it, because guess what? Um, there's gonna be better conditions like at this trade here. An amazing trade. Pretty much recovered all of the losses made here. Just with this one single trade, we made like almost all of it back. So that's what I mean. You have plenty of opportunity. You have a skill set. You know how to pyramid. You know how to read price. You know how to read it in time-based ideas, you know, high reward setups, precise entries, sniper entries. You have all of that skill set. Then why settle for this price when you can easily have this, or even this move here, this down move I took, which ended up making us profitable actually in the entire week. So you got to consider all those things. If you encounter this, I'm not saying that you should know in advance that before London even opens and the day before you know this is going to happen, you have a crystal ball. I'm not saying that, okay? Even IST sometimes may not know that. There's things that can help you infer that, but sometimes you may think it's a great session. It may even look like this basically. It looks clean, right? It's a breaker, you know, should just fall down here into this busy, right? But then it just does this. But a skilled trader, a seasoned trader, as soon as he sees this, high taken, low taken, high taken, that this move enough should be, you know, be like, okay, well, we're done for the session, definitely, and just maybe for the day. But even the second time, if you see it's doing this, basically, you have two choices: just basically abandon the session, or just demand something so precise and internal range that there is a risk of missing it. But guess what? You're fine with it. Why? Because even if you do miss it, you don't give a damn because you already know it's not the best condition anyway. So if you get a deep internal range entry, you're ensuring at least that, well, you will not get stopped out unless you're definitely wrong on the long idea. Put it that way. So it's best avoided is what I'm trying to say in most cases. So here, if you were assume that you go here and you go long here, then in this BISI and the balanced price range here, stop is just below that. The wick CE, let's say 7 pip, barely hits the 2R. Just something to consider. Now this week, news-wise, I think we can have a cleaner week. Not enough news Monday and Tuesday. Just the speech here at 3 p.m. you might have to watch out for. Again, 3 p.m. bit of news here. Thursday, Friday are the most energetic ones. You have 1:30, 2:45, 3 p.m. and then Friday 1:30 as well. So some news there. Fundamentally, now technically speaking, nothing changes. Still risk off basically on the higher time frame. As you can see, get rid of this first. The Monday's here, went up all week. High of the week closed down into internal range. Typically a Friday doing that. With that one, what we need to do now is basically look out more risk on. or risk off. In this case, this weekly SIBI is my drawn liquidity. Support wise, you have these levels here that can act as a support. Also a new PDRA GW, Galloway, basically. This is an inverted version of the Galloway if you go on a weekly chart. This was meant to, I'm using, let me go on the daily. This was actually on the daily chart. So on the daily chart, this took this out. Low, high, midpoint, Galloway midpoint. Meant to be a resistance, but we went through that. Want to see if it acts as support. It did right here. Also, look where we closed for the week, almost on the Galloway. That price is 457. The low of the day was 456. So literally just a 0.01 pip difference. Not too bad. So that's another PDRA. Remember, it doesn't change anything. It doesn't magically mean, oh, now you have super power. It's just one more thing basically that you can use for entries, targets, and stop management. Those are the three things that we use the PDRAs for. And of course, if I'm generally just reading price, trying to get the lay of the land, then this is obviously useful for that. Now, like I said, support, if you want to call it that, you have this Bissy, Galloway's there. This as well. The monthly SIBI levels, 4 of them stacked up one after another. And this weekly fair value gap, although I highly doubt that we will go all the way there, but go. And 1.5 is here. Pound is just risk off. If you're looking for a resistance idea, then I'll be surprised if it manages to take the previous weekly high. I wouldn't, to be honest, expect it to do that. But yeah, it can if it wants to, but I think I want to ideally see everything stay below the order block here, because we had this big displacement to the downside on Wednesday. And this is your bullish order block. These three candles are the lowest open here. This is your daily bullish order block. I do not ideally want to see a body that's closing above that if we are to have a high range in a week to the downside, or at least not the wick CE of this. Let's put it that way. So okay, you want to see the body close below that. And then of course, strong liquidity wise, you still have this weekly BISI open. So the last portion of that, also the daily BISI in its entirety, not to mention the daily equal highs here, rated after we rated this low just by 1 or 2 pips. A lot of things that will want to basically make price gravitate it basically where it is. So that's basically it. Also, just one last thing: the role of this daily SIBI, which now becomes an inverted SIBI. Initially, going into the week, it might act as a support since the counterparty rests here of this high and in premium side basically. So you may want to just basically keep an eye on that as well. Just at the beginning part of the week, because then again, if ideally what we want to see is this fail basically. I mean, it failed technically because it was meant to hold price going down, but it was a Friday, so it wasn't really gonna regard it much anyway. So that's why it went up, right? But you still basically just wanna have your eye on it, so to speak. It can very easily become a reclaimed daily inversion to the downside. So yeah, that's everything.